As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Christo
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We're going to be talking about some politics and how it affects small businesses, guys. You need to pay attention and start looking into things. See what's going on around you, because, hey, it could mean you not having money or revenues coming in to take care of your family, taking care of your employees. So today, we're going to put it on the line for you guys so you can see what's going on. But in the meantime and in between time, let me talk to my Cole, see what's going on. Cole, how you doing?
Well, Gilbert, you are absolutely right. It'll be, when I think about it, it's like, oh my God, this has to be, when our grandparents were starting out in the world, and just wasn't a lot of stuff, right? No phones, we have become so spoiled in our lives that the mere thought of someone taking away things like clean water,
Yeah.
shelter, healthy foods to eat. I don't know. I think I'm going to have I would have a problem with that.
That is true, man. That is true.
I was in the bank today, and I was talking to the teller, and we were just kind of chuckling because yesterday I think there was a tornado in some city. There's a tornado or drasticness going on the East Coast like every single day, right?
Right.
East Coast to South, and so he was saying something about a tornado that happened, and I think this is in some place like Ohio. I'm not even talking about tornado in Oklahoma and places where we're accustomed to it. It was
right. It's getting to other places now.
It's getting to other places. And I told him, I said, wow, I was watching the news the other day, and this man was going, my wall to my bedroom's over there, but my bedroom furniture is over here.
Oh, wow.
The kitchen is like 4 blocks away, and it just happened. It was a flood. This was a flood. The man's whole house came apart with a flood. So these are the things, guys, that's how imperative this election is going to be in November, on November 5th.
That's right.
The things that we take for granted, clean water, the fact that climate control, global warming is a real thing. It's not a fictional, make-believe on the television kind of thing. If you've been watching the weather, it's at its extreme. Now, at this present point in time, and I'm saying this, but I'm not asking for anybody else to come to Southern California. But however, the best place in the world to be right now is Southern California, because all we get is a little shake every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's so minimum, we have to go, wait, was that an earthquake? Oh, wait, let me check Facebook. Did anyone see it? Was that an earthquake? What was it, 3.5? That is where we are in Southern California. We don't have roofs caving in. We don't have doors flying off. So, if no other reason for you to go out to vote, but there are so many, and we're going to talk about some of them today, we want to make sure you vote because you want to protect your environment.
That's right.
It's brutal, very brutal. So, but this week has been good for me. Other than the fact that the world kind of came unglued with a couple of Trump sightings.
Right.
But other than that, my world has been kind of cool because I'm done with the kids. I did have clients to meet. I monitored how often I was meeting somebody. So
Yeah,
I'm good. I had a good week.
that's
That's all I
good.
can
So,
say. I had a
so
good
you're
week.
good.
I'm good.
I love that. Love that. Love that. Yeah, man, we got to start being cognizant. And for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about here on this show, this podcast, guys, we understand there's a project out there called the 2025 Project. So we want to delve into it a little bit today and slice it and dice it and see what's going on. We want to see what's going on in the underbelly of this Project 2025, how it impacts small businesses, how it impacts our small communities, minority communities, minority businesses, opportunities for minority companies. So that's what we want to do today. We don't want to be surprised. We don't want to be lambasted, just like what happened to us in 2020. And the next thing you know, 440,000 minority businesses have to close their doors. We don't want that again. So we're keeping our head on the swivel right now.
And as we should. And as we should. How was your week?
Oh man, my week was good. My week was good. Finally collect some payments from some of my clients.
That's
And
always
it's
wonderful.
not really the small clients that's really holding up our revenue. It's the bigger clients, the nonprofit agencies, the contract providers. They're the ones holding it up, and they know better. They claim their mission is to help us grow, help us thrive, and help us prosper. But that's just hogwash. They they don't believe what they're saying. They're just saying it because it's good soundbite. It sounds good.
Soundbite. And I really got a problem with it mainly because that's what I do for a living, right? That
Hmm.
I teach their clients how to generate their revenue and make sure they're staying on top of their accounts receivable. So since I'm teaching that, I think I'm a little bit knowledgeable in it. And so when you slow up my accounts receivable, like, wait a minute, this is a bit hypocritical.
That's right. Very hypocritical.
You wanting me to make sure our small businesses in our community is getting all the money and being able to pay all their bills and working on their credit, their business credit, but at the same time, you doing me in. I'm a small business.
Exactly. Exactly, man. So they're being very hypocritical, claiming that they're here to help, but they're not really. I see many of these contract providers, nonprofit agencies, trade associations who claim they're out there to help small businesses. I would say 95% of them are wolves in sheep clothing, man. They're wolves in sheep clothing. And I dare them to come on this podcast and prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
Yeah, we love for them to prove us wrong. That's
Yeah.
cool. I'm good with that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just
Yeah.
prove us
This is a
wrong.
challenge out to those contract providers who have small business accounts with small businesses and claim that they're paying small business on time. This is a challenge from the business zone to all of you contract providers. We would like you guys to come on this podcast and prove us wrong. We're calling
Yeah,
you wolves in sheep clothing, so
yeah.
prove us
Prove us
wrong.
wrong. Tell us something different. But here's what I do know that there's just so much going on right now, and so people really, our business owners need to become far more connected than they are.
Yeah.
It's just surprising how many I'm saying and talking about certain things, and they're looking at me like, really, what's that? What's happening? And
Like you
so
got two heads, right?
right. And so the thing is, small business owners, I know that it's very challenging when you're the only, you're wearing all the hats, but I cannot tell you how important it is for you to come up for air every now and then and
Hmm.
get out there to connect and get involved and get informed. Because if you're not, then you're going to be the one that's going to be the affected the most. Because by the time you do hear the information is going to be old, and so you're going to miss out on that. So it is important. Heck, you and I, we wear some single hats, but we what we also do is we work together, which makes
Right.
it easier. You work together with some other people, with with other people. But
Yeah.
we do every now and then have to come out and see what the world's like, because if we
Exactly.
don't, we can't stay on top of our business and our industry, and things are changing all the time. And so we just want you guys to become more involved. And I don't know about you, Gilbert, but I hear so many people telling me I'm not political.
That you're not
Well,
political.
that that they're
Oh,
not,
oh, that they're not
yeah, they're
political.
not, I vote, and that's about all I need to do, because that I'm not political, but you
Well,
are.
well, we got news for them here on the Business Zone. Breaking news, guys. You're gonna hear it first. You're on the Business Zone. You said you're not political, whether you're an entrepreneur or private resident. You said you're not political. Well, whether you like it or not, you are immersed in this political climate. So everything they do impact and affects you and your family. So you're thinking you're not political? Believe me, you are.
You're political.
You're political.
Because everything is affected. Your mortgage is political. The
Hmm.
interest rates
Loans to
are
your business,
loans to your
even
business.
student loans that you get for your kids is political. Because
Everything is political. So yeah, you are. Everything that we do, if you're trying to get into a brick and mortar, I'm gonna tell you, you cannot imagine how much local politics you gonna run into just trying to get into a office,
yeah,
try to open up a bakery and see how much bureaucracy you're gonna run into.
right. Any type of business or in entrepreneurship activity you're involved in, it's political. You just go into certain nonprofit agencies and receiving services. That is political. So just keep that in mind. You're out there talking about you're not political. Believe me, it's impacting you in one way or another. The food stamps you get,
Yeah.
it's
and, and and
political.
and here's how political, and unfortunately, maybe we make it look like it's so seamless, right? But
Yeah,
certain programs like the MBDR program,
yeah.
it was in jeopardy.
Wow.
MBDA program, it was
Yeah,
in jeopardy before this Project 25, and we're going to talk about that.
yeah.
But they wanted to eliminate that program that's with the Minority Business Development Agency, because someone was indicating that it was showing preferences to minorities,
Right.
and so they actually took them to court. So at that point, this program they were looking at dismantling this program,
Yeah.
which is a minority. So let me explain to you. You are a minority if you're black, brown, Asian, woman, veteran, disadvantage.
You know what we should do to make it easier for them? Just let them know if you're not that the Caucasoid persuasion, if you're not of the Caucasian persuasion, you are a minority. Okay.
You are a minority. So that applies to you. So if you don't fit that category, but you fit all those other categories, then you are a minority. So it does affect you. Just to be clear, I just think sometimes education is important.
Hmm.
Very important. Did you know, Gilbert, as a Jamaican, you're not black?
Oh, really? I did not know
Yeah.
that. Whose definition is that?
According to the former president,
Oh, Lord.
at the National Association of Black Journalists.
Oh, Lord.
He was there, and he told the young lady that Kamala
Yeah.
Kamala was not black. She had
Oh.
been saying all along she was Indian, and all of a sudden she turned black. We are some magical people. We can actually change our ethnicities
That
with a
is
blink of an eye, right?
hilarious.
And they were like, she is Jamaican and she is Indian, Southeast Asian, and she's Indian.
So
And
Jamaicans are not black anymore?
I'm trying to tell you, you didn't get the memo.
So even if we look as black as a chalkboard, we're still not black.
You're not black, Gilbert. You're Jamaican.
Oh my Lord. This is great. You know, you've got some little wackadoodle people out there, man. They sit in a little corner in some little dark room every day, and they come up with these weird concepts and definitions. Make no sense.
So they are it's a field day on Facebook or on social media that she is not black because her father was from Jamaica.
Oh Lord.
So
how come we get treated like blacks then if we're not black? we get put at the bottom of the barrel. We get treated horribly. People turn up their nose at us. How come that happening if we're not black? Huh?
I don't know. I don't know why you're having that problem because according to the former president, you're not black.
Oh,
you're definitely
Lord.
not. No, you're definitely not an African American.
Oh man, I guess they don't know the story about Marcus Garvey, you know, Paul Bogle, all of those national heroes of Jamaica who did wonders for the black population. You know, I guess they never heard about that.
And they obviously didn't hear that when the slave ships came from across the transatlantic, that they obviously didn't stop with the Africans. Those Africans, they didn't. I guess they didn't realize that they stopped in Jamaica first. I don't know how y'all got here.
We probably swam. We swam, man. I remember now. We swam. We swam in shark-infested waters. That's how we got here, man.
Woo, so
That's
now
so
they're
crazy,
saying,
man. That's some
so
wackadoodle stuff.
Wackadoodle. They're saying she is 1%. They feel she's 50. Well, let's say she's 15% black,
oh, Lord.
but the rest is Indian. Now her dad is from Jamaica. Her father's Jamaican.
Now, which Indian are they talking about? The East Indian, the subcontinental Indian,
East Indian. Which, by the way, her family, and history is so important.
Yeah.
Her family are from the Tamil people,
yeah,
which are very, very dark. Because they were the ones that part of the hunter gatherers that exited Africa and they went up through the Himalayas and then they came over to India, which is on the backside, which is Pakistan, and then on into India. That is, if you take a look at a map, guys. These are not hard-brainer stuff. This is not hard-brainer stuff. This is stuff we should have learned in geography.
Oh,
when
man,
geography was
man.
3rd grade or something. But I just thought I needed to let you know that you're not black.
So if we're not black, African. If we're not black, what are we? What are we? Are we?
You're Jamaican.
Oh, Jamaican. So now we're in our own little category there, right? Because blacks make up 14 to 15% of the economy, right? The population here in the U.S. So if we take the Jamaicans from that, and Jamaican is probably like 1.6%, then we're like down there at the bottom, you know, further bottom, the bottom of the bottom, underneath the bottom.
There's only this much of you.
Oh man, this is hilarious, man. This is hilarious.
So I thought I had to tell you that. I wanted to
I appreciate you letting me know, Cole.
To let you know that you're a nationality.
We got a new category there. That's our new category. That's crazy, man.
So reach out to all your fellow Jamaicans and let them know that they're not black. I'm not quite sure if that meant you guys didn't come from the motherland, because I think you did.
So we're going to have to send a memo to the customs people at the airport to let them know, hey, we're not black, so don't treat us like blacks when we come through here. You know,
right.
Search us, don't put us in those rooms.
But here's the interesting thing about that whole thing. If you look at some of the Southeast Asians or Indians that came in and had migrated here,
Yeah.
their paperwork shows that they're Caucasian because at the time,
What?
yeah, because that remember we had talked to somebody like that,
Yeah.
when depending on what's happening in the politics of the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, when the majority wants to increase that majority,
Oh,
then they
I get it.
liberally just kind of change
I
your
get it.
ethnicity, right?
I get it, co-host. I get it because so what they do is in order to convince the world, the nation and the world that the majority of the population are Caucasian, then they reserve that right to classify anyone they want as non-black or non-minority, right?
Yeah.
So they do that with Latinos. When you look at the
Yes.
birth certificate of Latinos, it doesn't say Hispanic, doesn't say Latino. It doesn't say minority. It says white. White. That's what it says. So they reserve the right to zoom in on certain groups and say, okay, we're going to bring you over onto our side to build our numbers up, right? Mm-hmm. That is so ridiculous.
With the exception of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Us black people, we don't get that luxury of having.
They even reach down to Jamaicans, calling them non-blacks. They're like, oh, they're not blacks. We can put them on our team.
Right. But those Africans that were those descendants of slaves that were on plantations here in America, those are the black people. Everybody else, we have the right and the privilege to just arbitrarily change their ethnicity when we choose to. So as of today, now I don't know how long that's gonna last. So enjoy it for the moment.
This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
But if you didn't see that, and you really should check it out this evening, if you did not see that interview with the former president and the journalist, the national, the NABJ, which is
I only saw the part where they kind of kicked him out, or he kicked himself out, or
he kicked himself out. Yeah, he kicked himself. He just couldn't handle it.
He was talking too much nonsense, so he kicks himself out, right?
Yeah, it was. He was brutal, man. He dug deep into his racist pockets, and he pulled out some major nuggets. And he kept saying, "There's one thing that I have a problem with." When even on the news, when you hear people talking about black people, but they emphasize the B.
Yeah, the blacks. It's the blacks.
She says that Candace. Hey, Candace says switch to black from Indian. That's what she did. She switched from black. So she switched from Indian to black, and she don't understand. So that we can wake up not non-black tomorrow.
This is hilarious.
And wake up non-black world. Thank you very much. I'm going for a big contract. I want to be a non-woman.
Yeah. Let's all do that then. Since they claim only certain people are blacks, so let's make sure we start going after those contracts and apply it, because we're not black anymore, so we can now get those contracts.
Right, exactly. So the next time you write in a proposal, when we talk about set aside, you want to be whatever you want to start with. So before we get started with the RFP or the RFQ, which one should I be today? Because that's what I'm going to be. Which one is more likely to get the contract? That's who I am going to be. So Candace says she identifies as rich. I'm with you. So that seems to be the only way you can get up out this murk, is to make sure that. So that's a whole different classification, because blacks with money or non-blacks with money are absolutely different than the regular people's.
That is so crazy now that people get to classify themselves as whatever they want. So I could probably classify myself as a lawnmower. Oh, I'm a lawnmower today. That's my
Exactly.
classification.
Woo. It's, we are in for an interesting ride if we don't
Oh
get
man,
the Kamala in the office as the president of the United States. It
this
is
is
going to
crazy,
be
man. This
just
is crazy.
incredible. So, um, you know, that was my week. It was humorous to a point.
It was very
I will say this:
interesting.
it was interesting. I will say they were extremely upset that the NABJ were having him, but as it turned out, and this is a statement my mom always said: if you give a person enough rope, they will hang themselves
Uh,
without you having to do
that's
anything.
right. That's
And
right.
that's what he did. They gave him
Hmm.
enough rope, and man, he came out. He could have had a white cone hat on yesterday with the word Grand Pooba across the top of it, and he couldn't have been more clannish.
Oh my lord, that
It was
is crazy.
it was something that was on money. So yes, so yeah, our this is understanding our assignment in our black job, because that was the other thing he talked about was black jobs. Black jobs are any jobs that minorities or immigrants that would come in to take. So the young lady was saying, so you mean agricultural jobs? Is that what you're saying? Or janitorial jobs? Or just any jobs, any jobs. But our black job is to vote on November 5th. And we can't tell you who to vote for, but I'm going to tell you what you shouldn't be voting for.
Oh man, this is hilarious, man. This is hilarious.
It is. So we're gonna get started so we can tell you. We can't tell you who to vote for, but we certainly can show you
That's right.
why
That's
you
right.
shouldn't vote the way you thinking, or possibly if you're confused,
That's
we're going
right.
to share that with you. So with that, everyone, today our topic is. But before we do that, we do want to let you know to go over to our um, go to our
Our to
YouTube
our
page
YouTube page.
and hit that subscribe button. We are looking for subscribers to grow our numbers so that we can monetize this platform. This is the 16th year. No, wow, 8 years that we have been on the air,
Yeah.
and it's time for us to now monetize it. So please help us out. Go over there
And
to the
guys, we really want to provide you a lot of material and a lot of services here on the Business Zone, but we need some funding for that. We're not asking you for funding. We want to go to sponsors, get that funding so we can help you guys out, help your business. So it's very important if you guys subscribe to our page. It's a free subscription. Just click on that QR code that Crystal just put up on the screen. Use your phone. It doesn't take much, guy. Less than a second. Just whip out your phone, take a snap on it, using your camera, and just subscribe. That's it. I'm sure you know other small businesses that can benefit from what we do here, and maybe some of you are watching for the first time. You're not quite sure what the Business Zone podcast is all about. So I'll give you a brief description, brief summary right now. So we are a podcast, small business podcast. We're geared towards small and micro businesses. We help you guys, get you ready. We do assessments with you. We advise you. We coach you. We provide training to you, to your business. And we help you to become ready, business ready, contract ready, funding ready. And even if you're a nonprofit, we'll help your nonprofit to become nonprofit ready so you guys can go after funding, grants, and all of that from your sponsors. That's really what we do, guys. We come with over 60 years of experience combined, my co-host and I. We've been in the industry from Jesus was a little boy at 7. So we've been doing this, guys. So we want to make sure that you guys get some of the benefits too. Now, if you're familiar with the Bible and all of that, you remember Jesus was like a shepherd out there, right? He would shepherd people, he would help them. And if he's traveling with, say, 100 sheep and one of the sheep goes astray, he'll stop the other 99 and say, hey, hold on, let me go get your little nephew there and bring him back. Okay. So that's what we do here on the Business Zone, guy. If we have 100 small businesses that we're working with and one of you go astray, we say, hey, stop, 99 entrepreneurs. Let us go and get this other entrepreneur that went astray and is doing things that's wrong. We want to bring them back so they can start becoming contract ready and go get contracts so they can feed their families and feed their employees. That's what we do here, guys. So just go ahead and subscribe so we can help more of you to thrive, grow your business, and it doesn't cost you guys much. We give you guys a lot of nuggets every week. And today, we're going to give you even a bigger nugget because my co-host and I, we're going to present you information about a conspiracy project that's going to be launched in 2025 if you don't pay attention. You know, they talk about wokeness. You better get up. You better be awake. You better
wake up. Yeah, because wokeness is gonna mean a whole different thing to you than it does to them. I will guarantee you that. So
That's
here's
right.
the thing. We understand that if you took any governmental classes, civics classes when you were younger and in middle school, I think it was in elementary school actually, but really into middle school, we have all been protected by, as minorities, been protected by the Constitution of the United States, which was enacted um, at on July 3rd, 1776. Right. So that document has been amended several times. One of the major amendments have been to allow Black people to be identified as human beings and to free us from slavery. Well, so that document is in jeopardy right now. And so if that document is in jeopardy, that represents democracy. And that is what makes us, the United States of America, different from a lot of other countries. We actually have a standing document that protects us and gives us certain rights to live in this country. And so that is in danger. And this is not hyperbole. This is the real deal.
That's true.
And so the Project 25, I'm sure you guys have heard about it. It's been all over the news. Joy Reid on MSNBC weekly, she's been breaking down the 925 pages or 52 pages. I think it's 52 pages. She has been breaking it down piece by piece. I really highly recommend that you tune in. You can go to YouTube, pull up any of hers, and she's been doing a breakdown. Rachel Maddow has been doing a breakdown. This is important because overall, Project 25 has been envisioned by conservative think tanks and aligned with policy goals of the potential Trump administration and aims to significantly reshape the federal government and its regulatory landscape. Now, we may say, well, we don't really know what that means. It cannot be that bad because it's constitutionally lawful. Well, if you take the Constitution away, then there are no laws to protect you.
That's true.
Right? So the Project 25 proposes that the entire federal bureaucracy, that's the government of the United States that protects all of us, including their independent agencies such as the Department of Justice, will be and Homeland Security. They're changing the Department of Health to the Department of Life. Um, will be placed under direct presidential control, and
The
that
Department of
means
Health?
the Department of Health. That one of the things they're looking at is changing it from the Department of Health to the Department of Life.
That
And
is
the
crazy.
only job that the only job that the Department of Life will have is to maintain and regulate the women of our country's menstrual period to make sure that they are giving birth
That is crazy.
and not having abortions.
So they're going to determine who lives and who dies.
Yes.
Holy moly. This is crazy, man. Guys, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. A lot of you are younger than me. Wake up.
Yeah, this doesn't pertain to us. This pertains to those of you that they're taking away your choice. And here's the thing. Women making a decision about their own bodies doesn't just affect the woman. It affects the male as well, because if he's not ready to have a child, he is
Mm-hmm.
not in a position to take care of a child, and he doesn't want to be a parent, then all bets are off. So this doesn't just affect the woman. So that's very important
But
for you
but
guys.
here what else is connected to that, co-host? If if they try to control the lives of the women, right?
Mm-hmm,
And if let's say the women and the men get together and one of them is not ready to procreate, to bring
mm-hmm,
life into this world, and the system, I call themselves the Department of Life, if they decide to say, okay, we're making sure you still bring that child to term, right? Now the
mm-hmm.
guy can't afford it, so guess what's going to happen? They're going to arrest him, put him in prison. So now he's going to die too in prison. You see what I'm saying? Because once you go to prison, what happened is it impacts your ability to come back out in the society and be a productive member. Because now you don't have a driver's license anymore. You can't vote. So you see what I'm saying? It's a
Mm-hmm.
vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vicious
Yeah.
cycle. And then
It's a big
the woman is left unsupported because she doesn't have a man to take care of the house, be that provider that is supposed to occur in the household. That's ridiculous.
yes, exactly. And it they're talking about the benefit of a family, but if neither party is prepared to be a parent, then that is not a healthy household.
That's right.
Yeah,
That is
and so
crazy, man.
therefore you're not preserving family, right? You just want the numbers, because if the people are not ready to be parents, or they're raped or whatever happens, and all of a sudden they find themselves in that position, you don't. That is not a family unit.
Right. And then those people who call themselves, the gods of people, then they decide who lives, who dies, who goes to prison, who doesn't. Do you see what I mean?
Right. Right.
And like Candace said, they're not like us. They are not like us.
Right. Exactly. So that is some of that. So there's so many issues, but there are many issues that also fall in. So even though we're talking in as a business, but everything affects everything. We just said that.
That's right.
Life alone affects how successful you are in business.
Yeah.
So if our regular life is in complete chaos, then our business is going to be in complete chaos. If we don't have we don't have the stability of home, then we can't have stability of successful business. So it
Right.
does affect us. So there are a number of things on the table, and so we're going to talk about a few. Some you think that it doesn't apply to you, but it does. So some of the things that we do know is let me think. I hit one too fast. There we go. Deregulation and labor relationships. So that means that they're going to deregulate all laws that pertain to business, and what that does is that it's going to lower all of the compliance costs, but at the same time, it's going to remove all protections that specifically benefit minority-owned businesses. So we all know when we start our business, we are expected to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And we also know that there are laws in place that prevent discrimination when we're doing business with
yeah,
people.
yeah.
But that's going to be removed.
Wow.
That's going to be eliminated. So it is going to impact us significantly. Labor regulations. So these are changes in laws that could affect wages, worker protections, employment practices, which really would disproportionately impact small minority business owners with limited resources. So today, there are workforce readiness programs that when it comes time for you to hire an employee, there are programs out there that you actually can go to that are paid. The employees are trained and paid by these organizations that you actually can extract employees for your company. That would be gone.
It seemed to me like those folks responsible for this Project 25 manifesto that they're putting
Hmm.
out there,
That's
it
what it is,
seemed,
a manifesto.
yeah, it's a manifesto. So it seemed to me like they want to roll back the clock to where it was like 200 years ago.
Yes.
And then they operate from that standpoint because that means certain people will be in charge and certain
Hmm.
people will not be. Some certain people will be uh, subservient to that.
Yes.
And if they're rolling back the clock and talking about, it's like a one world order type deal,
Yes.
where they come up with these little crazy things. Humans, minorities are not considered humans anymore because they're not, 100% considered that way. If you have a fraction of black blood in you, they say, well, you're not a human. You
Yeah.
know,
One drop.
so
One
so
drop.
so that's the kind of thing they're trying to go back to, and that does not work, guys. I mean, you guys need to wake up, man. Pay attention and thinking that things are not happening around you. You need to wake up. You're an entrepreneur. You got to think and look at opportunities and programs out there who that's designed to help you grow. Those are the programs they're talking about taking away from you. Now you cannot hire employees. You cannot help your family. You cannot help your community. What do you think is going to happen then?
And then you become an employee. And so
Yeah,
if on a broad spectrum, if I am going to eliminate labor laws, then that means that one, there are certain jobs they're going to allow me to have, and there are certain jobs I'm not going to be allowed to have, right? Because
yeah.
they're going to change this at will. So today, we as African American people, minority people, we are protected by these regulations.
All right.
This is what separates you from slavery
Yeah.
because there's a governmental agency that is in place. If you don't get paid, you don't work. But under these regulation or deregulation of labor laws, employee human laws, then you easily could become a slave.
So then they want to return us. This is part of their plan to return us to subhuman conditions.
Yes,
Then we can't complain about it. We just got to take it. I
right.
remember those days of the slave ship where people didn't even get to take a shower or anything. They're on these ships for weeks.
Well,
Being
remember in the very beginning of America when they were well, obviously we were slaves, but even with the Asian people that they brought here, they were to build the railroads. They
they
were
put them in
working for
concentration camps, right?
camps and worked for hours without bathroom breaks, without food
Yeah.
breaks, without accommodations, safety accommodations, no water, no anything. So yes, they want the free labor,
Yeah.
but they are not going to. There are no going to be no protections for you as the laborer.
It affects all of us, guys. If you think you're not one of them, think again. Think
Right.
again, because their plan is to get everyone.
Exactly. They're dismantling what we see and what protects us today. So the next one is and this is how it affects business, access to governmental contracts.
Oh Lord.
Affirmative action. Uh, uh, um, the Project 25 may seek to roll back affirmative action policies. Now they've already dismantled that, so they're going to roll back the actual actions that were part of affirmative action, potentially reducing the number of governmental contracts set aside for minority-owned businesses.
So they already started out by rolling back affirmative action in the school system, in the education system. So that was
Mm-hmm.
the first start. So the next step is to do it in government contracting, because once you combine those two together, you pretty much got everything, you know.
Right.
And then the employment part will just easily fit in after that, where some people get enrolled in affirmative action programs so they can get access to certain jobs and certain training opportunities. They're saying now that all of that is going.
Exactly. The next one is procurement policies. So changes in procurement policies, and I'll read this, and then Gilbert, you explain why this is so. This can be really devastating to small businesses.
Yeah.
Can make it harder for minority-owned businesses to compete with large corporations for government contracts. So,
Yeah.
what was it like? And I don't know all the details of when and why did procurement policies become part of the governmental federal government.
I'm going to tell you in a second. I'll
Okay.
tell you in a second, because I have all that information. So you go ahead and speak about it. Let me continue.
So changes in that policies could make it harder for minority-owned businesses to compete. And so Gilbert, as he's pulling up this information, he's going to let you know what are the benefits of being able to have access to governmental contracts. Now, in certain states, in Georgia, in D.C., in Virginia, in Maryland, and the tri-states, which would be D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, most of the black or most of the minority businesses are minority certified businesses, and a lot of their wealth has come from the fact that they are doing business with the government. I would imagine in every capital of this country, that's probably the same in Sacramento. It's probably Atlanta, because that wherever the capitals are and wherever the governmental offices are that are housing employees and providing contracts for businesses is probably most concentrated. So
Exactly.
it literally changes your economic capacities and abilities to be able to increase the revenue. Because as Gilbert and I have been saying for years, you want to not you want to your balance of business should be more contractual than it is transactional, because
Exactly.
you can forecast how much money you're making every month if you have a contract that says you're going to make X amount of dollars every month.
Yes.
But however, if you're doing transactional business, that's just as people come to your door. So that requires you to have a pretty large marketing budget to get them in the door, get them into your sales funnel, and then get them to buy, and then get them to come back. So
Right.
that's a four-step process to make sure. But even then, you can't. There's nothing that is going to guarantee they're going to come in every month and spend the same dollar amount every month.
Exactly. So this program, the program to help minorities, right, to
Mm-hmm.
even the playing field, and that's how the government classify it. Evening the playing field. This came into existence in 1980. 1980. And if you remember during 1980, like the start of 1980, what was going on? It was a lot of that leftover uh, friction and debris from the civil rights area, which was in 1964, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
from that. Now, in 1964, part of the Civil Rights Act, they call it Title Six. Title Six. I know that's confusing to a lot of you guys, but I'm just trying to summarize it for you. The Title Six aspect of it is the part that was adopted in 1980 by the U.S. federal government, which is affiliated with the Department of Transportation. They decided that, hey, in government contracts, we need to even the playing field. We need to bring in the smaller businesses, the minority businesses that don't really get opportunities, and with those businesses that are the ones feeding communities, the main engine in society. Because as you know, 97 or 98% of small businesses are running this country. You know, so they said, well, we have to make concessions to these businesses to help them so they can grow, they can sustain communities, they can help their families, and they can hire people. So that's how they came into that program, the DBE program, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. That's how it was born in 1980. And, it was, primarily for minority and women-owned businesses that are trying to be sustainable within communities. So that's a part of the Civil Rights Act, guys. Title Six of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So what they're trying to do, just like they did with Roe versus Wade, which they went back and they rolled back from the early 60s. I mean, the early, well, it was before that. I think it was the 40s, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
40s, yeah. So they're trying to
I
do
think
the same
it's
thing.
been 72 years, I think the number was, that
Right,
when Roe versus Wade was became active.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to do, this Project 25, guys, you need to pay attention now. Because we make fun and jokes here on the business zone, guys, but we're serious. We're making fun and jokes, but we're serious. And I want you guys to take this seriously as well, because they already started with the Roe versus Wade. They roll that back. Then the Supreme Court, they decided to gang up and say, well, a former president cannot be impeached or cannot go to prison
Yeah,
for
no,
criminal
has
activities that they
immunity.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So they're doing this one by one by one by one until they get everything rolled back to where it was before the civil rights period. So this program they're trying to get rid of, they're trying to get rid of the DBE programs for you guys. Just so you know, guys, there are $500 billion in procurement dollars out there that for small and minority and women-owned businesses that you guys are not even touching. You guys don't even have access to it. You don't even know where they exist. 500 billion. That's a half a trillion. Okay, that's out there. That's the procurement dollars that are set aside for minority, women-owned, disadvantaged businesses and veteran-owned businesses, right? So if they roll back this program, that 500 billion is going to go somewhere else. And guess where that somewhere else is? To the big boys, the big dogs, okay? The guys who support their campaigns and have these champagne dinners and yacht parties, okay? You're not invited to those parties. So you want to make sure, guys, you pay attention to what's going on and stay focused. If you want to be sustainable, if you don't want to be an employee anymore, I mean, you remember when we tried to become employees back in the civil rights days before the 1960s, they wouldn't hire us. They wouldn't put us in decent jobs. The only thing we could do is sweep streets or clean toilets and those types of things. Now people are venturing out. People are becoming entrepreneurs. People are inventing things. And just so you know, if you know you're not still not paying attention after what we're saying here, just so you know, people who invent a lot of things, they invent it because they're in a situation where life is difficult for them and they cannot operate with the current system that they have. So they have to come up with alternative to make their lives easier. With that being said, like the traffic light, like the ironing board, the refrigerator, all of those things, guys.
The elevator.
The elevator, okay? All of those things, are things that were invented because we needed to make our lives easier. And that's why we became entrepreneurs. You notice the largest number of entrepreneurs that came into existence was right after slavery was what they call abolished. 1865, right?
Yeah,
It was supposed to be
65.
1863, but they keep it hidden from us for 2 years. Didn't tell us anything. They kept us in the dark. Wouldn't let us read any newspaper to know the news, to know what's
You
going
could
on.
even, they didn't want you to even learn how to read. But one of the things also is it wasn't a casual throwout that they want to roll America back to before 1863. There's a reason
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
And as one of the reasons is because slavery was abolished in 1863, but of course they didn't tell Galveston, Texas, into several years later, and they kept that a secret. But here's also how some figures, because facts and figures really help to solidify why procurement opportunities, affirmative action is so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Affirmative action, the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, does not mean you're not qualified. You have all the qualifications in order to be hired for this opportunity. It's just it made it force people to do the right thing. Basically,
Well,
is what they
actually, what it does, it gives you an eligibility badge
right.
to where when you're knocking on that door, go, hey, let me in so I can apply for some of these opportunities. They're going, hey, we're not letting you in. Do you have your eligibility badge? Yes, here we go. So that's how the DEI. That's
Right.
how the DEI.
You're not being hired because you don't have the skill set. Because
You're
you do.
eligible
You have
to do it, guys.
right. So here's some figures that can help really become concrete in your head. Minority owned, the percentage of employer or minority owned businesses in 2021, and the percentage of businesses, black owned businesses, was 2.7%, which is 14.4% of the U.S. population. Hispanic businesses were 6.9% business owners. Percentage of the population is 19.1%. White owned, let me come to this last one. I'm going to come back to that last one. Asian owned business owners is 10.9%, and they represent 6.3% of the population. So the white owned business owner represents 82% of businesses owned by white business owners, and they represent 72.5%. So
Mm-mm.
on a graph, on a pie chart, who do you think gonna get the opportunities if they're not policies and programs in place to ensure that the balance from the 82% is gonna get any opportunities at all?
Let's put it another way, co-host, so they can understand. The entrepreneurs out there who are listening and the non-entrepreneurs who are trying to become entrepreneurs, or your family members are entrepreneurs. We're trying to get you to understand this project 2025, and so you can see what's going on. You can understand it's going to have long-term effect on your family, on your employees, and your community. So My co-host just told you guys that there's about 71, 72% of the usual suspects who really get the opportunities all the time. Then the other 29% is divided up into other little subcategories where you have splinter minorities who occupy some of those small slice of the pie, and one of that would be the blacks, who they only occupy 2.7% of that. What my co-host is trying to say is, imagine being invited to a church party. Okay, this party is put on by a church function, and some of the members, 72% of those members, are allowed to eat first. They're gonna eat the barbecue that you guys that the church put together. Even though you guys cook some of the food and you bring it to the table, you got mashed potato, all that good stuff. But you can't eat any of that until that 72% eat first, because they're friends of the pastor or whatever, right? So the other 28, 29% of you now got to be divided up into categories, and the church will decide which ones of you in that 28, 29% will eat next. Now, this is after the 72% go up first. They get their food. They come back for seconds. We still got to wait, because that's how the system is set up. And now, after the food is all cold and most of the good part of the food is eaten by the 72%, then they have this little scraps left for us. So the other 28% have to fight for that. And now they're saying, all right, we're gonna call names to see who gets up here next to do that. But the names we're gonna call are from certain ethnic groups. Now, if you look like closer to the group that represent the 72%, then maybe you will get in. The farther you look from that group is the less opportunity you have to get in there and get some of this leftover food. Am I saying this right, co-host?
Exactly. So you are at the back of the line. The line is 19 blocks long, and before you even get halfway to the line, all of the food is going to be gone. That's what he's talking about.
And it's going to be super cold by the time you get there.
And crumbs. It's going to be crumbs. Yeah. You're going to be scraping off from the side of the pan with the little hard crumbs trying to get you a meal. So that's basically what we're saying. So again, we cannot allow this to happen. And you may say, but I don't need those opportunities. Yes, you do. You just don't know you need these opportunities. But even if you personally don't need them, you need the majority of the population to have accessibility to them. Because even if you're not going to become the certified client recipient, they may hire you. They may pass on the wealth of that by hiring you as a sub, based upon the skill set that you have, and that you can satisfy the terms of the contract they have. So you may not be the one with the contract, be the general, the prime, but you may be able to come in as a sub, and that will also mean you're doing contractual business. And that contractual business can change how you live your life, how you pay your bills, how much money comes into your coffers every single month that you can count on for the 12 months of the year, as opposed to hoping and praying and wishing and sending up alms that you got a customer that's going to come in the door and pay you, and then you got to fight them to get the money. Right. There's nothing in place to keep you from getting. There's no laws in place to keep you make sure you get paid.
That's a great addition to this picture we're painting, co-host, because many of you, the reason you went into entrepreneurship is because they treated you horribly as employees. They treated you horribly. They didn't respect you, didn't respect your time, your space, your talents, nothing. They just said, hey, come in here and help me to get richer. That was
Yep.
your job. When you get
Yep.
hired as an employee, they're telling you, in essence, I want you to come in here and help me become richer, and you will continue to stay poor. That's that concept.
And I will treat you bad in the process.
I treat you horribly in the process.
Right,
and
exactly.
and then when you branch out and say, not taking this anymore. I'm gonna form my own company, become my own entrepreneur. Now, when you do that, it puts you closer for you to becoming rich, because then you can make the salary that you want, the revenues you want, by tapping into certain types of opportunity. Your earning potential is limitless when you're an entrepreneur. So, for
Exactly.
those of you saying this does not impact me, it doesn't affect me, yes, it does. If you have kids, believe me, it's affecting you. If you don't have kids, believe me, it's affecting you. Because that mortgage that you pay, that car payment that you pay, you working for the man is not going to help, because he controls how much money you make, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, you can make as much as you want by applying and bidding and submitting proposals on as many projects as you can. And guess what? When you do your proposals, you set your prices in there.
Exactly.
You don't have anyone say, well, you can only bid 20,000. No, that's not how it works. So that's why we're trying to get you guys awakened, so you can start looking at these opportunities like it's a last resort, like someone drowning and they need air.
Yeah.
That's how you should be looking at this.
I quite agree. And one other caveat is just not pertaining to race, meaning minorities. It is also pertaining to gender.
Yeah.
And so we have to throw this caveat in. The recipient, the one that benefited the most from affirmative action and procurement opportunities were white women. That is who benefited far more than Black people and Latino people and Asian people.
Right.
All hands down.
Yeah.
So just understand that just because you're a white person, woman, doesn't mean you're included in this process. Gender was a major part of this. That was what the women suffrage, they were fighting for rights to vote and fighting for rights to own their own business and be their own person and not be the property of their husbands or their fathers. Yeah. So that is on procurement. The next one is on, which is another tough one for minorities and could really, really devastate us, is access to capital. So if any of you have gone out there and tried to apply for a loan, tried to apply for a line of credit, you were probably turned down. But there are regulations in place that really kind of even the playing field. Still challenging because they find other ways to eliminate you, but part of the Project 25 is access to capital. So financial regulations, meaning that they would deregulate the financial institutions, could lead to stricter lending practices, difficult for minority businesses to secure loans and investments. That includes not just race, that also includes gender. Also, federal grants and subsidies, potentially cuts to these programs that provided grants and subsidies to minority entrepreneurs could be limited or completely gotten rid of, which then would be an issue. So let's think back to 2020 when there were federal grants that actually saved us from dying on the vine because there was nothing coming in your door when we shut down because of the pandemic. That was a federal grant. Mm-hmm. And they put that in place for everyone, but they put that in place to make sure that we would survive, that this country would survive, that the financial institutions of this country would survive. So monies were allowed. So vitally important. So here's some more of uh, statistics so that you understand. Access to capital has always been a struggle for minority business owners to
Yeah,
obtain access to money in order to grow your business.
that's
For
true.
Black people, our history was we weren't going to get funding from anybody post slavery during Jim Crow. So, what did we do? We created Black Wall Street, and
Mm-hmm.
we were able to fund our own businesses until the Caucasoids realized what was happening, and then they destroyed it, burn it down,
Right,
burnt
right.
it down, burnt Black
They
Wall
burned
Street
it down without impunity. No one
without
really held them
impunity.
accountable.
Right, without an impunity. So then here we are back relying on entities that don't accept us as human beings or as people in this country, asking them, begging them to give us money to be able to help us grow our businesses and scale our business. And they basically say, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. But dude, I don't have any bootstraps because you burnt them down.
You burn up all my boots in the fire.
Yeah, all my boots. I don't have straps. I don't have boots. So the Federal Reserve System shows more white applicants, 35%, get all of the financing they apply for compared to the Hispanic population of Hispanic business owners. They receive 19%. Black business owners receive 16%, and Asian business owners receive 16% blacks and 15% black business for Asian business owners. Now, what the Asian population did, they created their own banks and they
Yes.
lend to their own people,
Yeah.
and they have prospered probably more so um, than we have. There's a study that revealed that when Black business owners had more sophisticated business structures like corporations, approval rates flipped, favoring Black applicants. But again, a lot of times the information and the education is not out there. But there is definitely a racial biases when that has, even with the laws in place, that has impacted business loans for my underserved communities and minority business owners. So that
Co-host,
will be gone.
if you don't mind, can you go over the Latino numbers again and the Asian numbers for me?
Here on this
I
study
think you
from the
said 19% for the Asian for the Latinos,
yes,
and the Asian was what percent?
15%. What do you
So
have?
they're 1% below the African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's strange. That is weird. And again, I understand what you said that the Asians had their own banks and their own, groups that assist them. So that's probably why they're at 15% because they really didn't need it from the man.
No, they long time ago realized that they didn't need they couldn't, but they're a lot more inclusive and
Yeah,
working together as
yeah.
opposed to blacks and Latinos work together.
And
So
then the
we
Latino numbers, I thought it was higher than that. Only 19%. I thought it was
let's see
probably
when
up
this
to like 30% or so.
this is as of 2023 and it's
Yeah,
coming
that's
from
still
the
low,
federal.
man. That's still low.
Yeah.
So,
So just to let you know, but at this point, ain't nobody gonna get it.
right, right.
if they do what they plan on doing. But yeah, there's a report from the Federal Small Business. That's where this came from. So the resource that I got that from was from it's a 2022 report on firms owned by people of color based on the 2021 Small Business Credit Survey. So
Yeah.
there's actually a document. I'll send it over to you.
All right, right, right.
All
Okay.
righty. So next one, I don't want us to run out of time, is Affordable Care Act. So it's not called the Obama Health Care Program. It is called the Affordable Care Act, which was voted in by the federal government.
Oh Lord.
So, of course, when the former president was in office before, he was going to throw out Affordable Care Act because, in his opinion, it was all about Obama, and he didn't want anything because they called it the Obama Care Act, and so it's back on the table under Project 25. Repeal or changes to the ACA would increase health insurance costs for small business owners and their employees, impacting minority business owners disproportionately. Now, in the state of California, we actually had a program, it's mandated, so that you could have health insurance. And this is why the health insurance piece is important. We are never sure when a catastrophe is going to happen to us. If by some chance
Right.
we get ill, have a heart attack because we're working too much, because we are carrying a whole entire load, we have high blood pressure, we have diabetes. These are chronic illnesses that require health care. You cannot ignore those conditions. They will take you out of here. And so, as Gilbert mentioned last week, he actually, as careful as he was literally a hermit throughout the whole darn pandemic until the following in 2022 or three, so 22, when you went to Thanksgiving dinner, when you
22.
thought it was safe, and he got COVID. Well, little did Gilbert knowledge, he also had a blood pressure issue, and that almost took him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And so he incurred a
Yeah.
tremendous bill, $150,000, 150K.
150K,
So if it
man.
had not been for the Affordable Care Act, I don't know, partner.
I should be a good testimonial to this affordable care
Because
program.
you couldn't have been more careful than Gilbert Buchanan during the pandemic. The man did not leave
Man,
his house.
I was
He
so
did not.
careful.
Some of us was taking chances. This man did not leave his house for 2 years. So things happen that you cannot control. And as careful as he was, he actually got COVID. You were the last person I would have thought that would have gotten COVID, Gilbert. But it happened. So the Affordable Care Act, if you no longer have accessibility to health insurance, which would mean also they're talking about dismembering Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all of these things that we put in for us. Those of us that have worked as an employee, we accumulated our Social Security and our Medicare. We paid for that. There wasn't no gift. There ain't no gift.
Yeah.
It was we
Right.
for at least 10, 15, 20, 30 years, we actually worked and paid into that system. So that is one of the things that they're looking at eliminating. So a lot of you, your second act is your business now. So you're operating, utilizing your retirement money in order to live. That's your income while you're building your businesses. Um, so
Right.
that would be a major a deficit in your bank account if you use the ability to get to your Social Security and no longer have Medicare that you paid into. This is not a giveaway. It's not like Medicaid or social
Mm-hmm.
services. It is actually money that you paid into. It's like you paid a deposit on your health insurance for when you turn 67. And that's the other thing. They want to raise the age from 67 to 69, 70 ish, somewhere around there, so that you literally will not be able to, no health insurance. So therefore, you may not even need they can just take your money and roll it back into into a pot and take it for something else.
Mm-hmm. And plus, they're getting paid by me every month because I'm paying
Right,
back
and
into
if
the
you're paying
program.
your
So,
self-employment taxes every year, that is your Social Security and Medicare
yeah.
as an as a
Yeah.
self-employed business owner. So all of that would go away. Next one is the economic inequality and community support. Now, these are community development programs and educational training programs that are there for small business owners to learn how and provide information and training to you as a small business owner to help you improve your status as a business owner. So, part of Project 25, there will be a reduction in federal support for community development programs that could definitely impact, not definitely, would impact minority communities, reducing the overall economic activity and opportunities for minority owned businesses. And then the education and training programs are cut to those programs that benefit us and could limit the pipeline of skilled workers available to minority owned businesses. Now, for me, this is significant because, and for Gilbert, and for Greg, and for whomever else is consultants and consultants and business coaches, that's how we get paid. We are doing programs for organizations that are receive grants to provide these educational and training programs for the communities that they serve, and so um, they would be reducing or eliminating those programs. I really think it. In my, this is my opinion. It got nothing to do with anybody else's opinion. My opinion is, if we eliminate all opportunities for you, you have to come work for us at
Hmm.
our rate or no rate at all. You have to be subservient to us as your supreme being, right? So that is what I think. So it
Right.
again, guys, this is so important. We have to vote for democracy in November because there's so many things that are at on the table that are at stake to your livelihood, and not just your livelihood, to your children's livelihood.
And those of you who think it does not apply to you, you notice I keep saying that? You think it does not apply to you? You've got a sad thing coming, guys. This is going to affect everyone. We talked about
Yeah.
redlining last week, how most of us are redlined into poverty. Most of us are redlined into certain communities that are not sustainable, and we end up in those communities because there's no way up for us. So you take it, pay attention. These are ones that you're definitely going to need. Everything my co-host went over on that list. And after the show, if you guys need a copy of this list or a copy of these items that we went over, you send a quick email. My co-host, she puts the emails out there every week, so we can put it in the chat for you guys. And and please be, how should I say? Please be, please have some good faith when you do this. Like, you know you're doing something, but you're also giving back a little bit. So make sure when you request this list and all these other things, make sure that you already subscribe, guys. If you're not subscribed and you're requesting this list from us, shame on you.
Give us a shame on you.
Shame.
All these golden nuggets that we're handing out to help to save you, to make sure that you have information is so vitally important. We're going to
Hmm.
end with this one today, but I want you to talk on this one, Gilbert,
Yeah.
because you actually, I think,
Hmm.
when the population that wants to eliminate immigration, I think they only
Right.
see one ethnicity as an immigrant.
Oh yeah.
But why
Oh yeah.
you immigrated here from Jamaica? So what were
Right.
your reasons for coming to America?
Economic growth and wealth and
Right.
opportunity. you know because where I was in Jamaica, the unemployment rate was about 40% or rising to 45%. It was really tough. And only 5% of the people there control 95% of the
Mm.
country. And those 5% who control the country, they didn't look like us. They look like some other people. So they're the ones who run the country. They own everything. They own the rent a car companies. They own the cement mines, the steel mills. Do the developments. Building homes. They're the ones who do that. So we were at their mercy. If we do get a job, that job is not sustainable. We had to, in order to really get something. With a consistent paycheck, you have to look towards the government, do government jobs, that type of thing, and even that wasn't great. So, a lot of us were talented, and we know we had skills and all of that. So we say, hey, man, let's look for a promised land elsewhere, and that's why many of us emigrated to this area. Now, the one thing that we learn in history, and I've said this on this show over and over. History is cyclical. It's cyclical. That means it
Mm-hmm.
happens in cycle. Whatever happened in the 12th century may happen in the 15th or 17th century again. Whatever happened in the 17th century may happen in the 21st century. Whatever happened in the 20th century, it could be getting ready to happen in the 22nd century when we get to that point. And it's evident, co-host, it's evident from what's going on right now. Back then, in the 12th, 13th, 14th century, 15th century, people emigrated to other parts of the
Mm-hmm.
world. They did, because they were looking for, even in the Bible, people emigrated from one area to another because they want to find
Mm-hmm.
growth. They want to help their family. They want to live more comfortably, and that's how it is. But the keepers of the nation, they decided, hey, immigration, we want to control that, but we only want certain types of people emigrating to
Mm-hmm.
our area and contributing to our community. And you've heard it from the former president where he's saying, well, we only want certain people emigrating to the U.S. to help build the U.S. And they got to look like me. They got to speak the European
Mm-hmm.
language or
Mm-hmm.
something to that
Mm-hmm.
effect. You see what I mean? So that's what's been going on since the beginning of time, and it's going to continue. People in power, they tend to do things that satisfy their own, you know, fetishes or whatever. So that's what's been going on. But we were able to migrate here, and when we come here, we come with a different we come with a different type of philosophy and
Mm-hmm.
culture and mindset, because in our country there was no social security, there's no unemployment, there's no welfare. If you don't have a job, man, you better go kill some wild animal and cook him for dinner or something. You got to do some hunting. You can't just, wait for the government to give you a check or give you
Right.
something. It doesn't work that way. So that's why when many of us come here, man, we go all out. That's why they say Jamaicans, we got 15 jobs,
And
man.
one of the
That's
things
true.
that I've seen from all of my friends that are from other countries, because you're coming from countries that don't offer you that economic security, you are,
Yeah,
far as success, you are looking to achieve. So if
yeah,
that means that you have to have 25
right.
jobs to be able to feed your family, to reach,
Hell yeah,
to get that golden
yeah,
goose that you're looking for in this country,
yeah,
you work extremely hard to do that. Whereas,
yeah. Because we don't want to go back to
right, so
that
you're working
situation,
very, very hard to do that. So to say that immigrants are coming here now, there are immigrants that do come here because of all kinds of reasons: war in their own countries, wars that we as
War,
Americans have
yeah,
started in their countries.
Yeah.
and thus have sent them here. So there are a lot of reasons why we have the immigrants. So, but under this 20 Project 25, it will be eliminating um, it will be eliminating immigration, and not just immigration from countries that they deem to be immigrants. It should be an overall everybody. If you're going to do one group, you got to do
Yeah.
all of the groups. So that means no immigrants from any other country. And I was just looking at a chart from Pure Research that majority of the immigrants that are coming in legally, and some not legally. Some of them, come here for education purposes and then stay. And they kind of fold into the population, but most of them are getting their BA
Hmm.
degrees, so they're educated and they're
Yeah.
skilled. Some of them are coming in on a visa program. So that would one of the things they would do is change the programs to limit the ability of minority-owned businesses to hire skilled workers from abroad, which could be a major issue for the
Right.
United States
Well, it
because
will be a major
we don't
issue.
do technology
Just
here.
just look just look
Right.
at Google, for example. Most of those employees and people from
No.
Google, they're not from here. They're
They're
from
from
a foreign
they're from
country. They're
India
from
or
India.
China. Yeah.
You see what I'm
India,
saying?
China.
Yeah. So that's an example of what they're talking about. Now they're claiming that they don't have that talent here. They do have that talent. We have a lot. That's why we have the
Yes.
STEM program. We have the STEM program: science, technology, engineering, and math. That's what that program is, and we've been running that for a long time. We've been grooming workers out of that package. We got men
Mhm.
and women in there. Why can't we use our own to do those things? But you know the
Yeah.
name of the game, right? They this is a capitalist country, so they're greedy and they don't want to pay us what we are worth. So they'll bring a foreigner in here and underpay them to do the same work
Yeah,
that we could be
exactly,
doing.
exactly. The other part of that program that is significant for me is that if you were a U.S. citizen, um, you were born with dual citizenship. My daughter, my niece daughter, she has dual citizenship. So because her father was Egyptian, and her mother was
Mm-hmm.
American, and so she has dual two passports. And the same thing would happen to you if you had married and had kids. Your child would
Yeah.
have the ability, would automatically be a U.S. citizen because it's born to a U.S. citizen. You have to go through certificate. You have to go through the
Right.
process to be acknowledged
Right.
by the embassy. But at the same time, you have that. They would eliminate that. No one here that
Right.
has children that after you, if you were born here as a U.S. citizen, your child would not have that same opportunity.
And again, I believe they're just doing that just to
Yes.
certain groups because, again, we've seen, these visas that they're issuing to people from European nations. Like right now, they have this, this war that they fabricated, between Russia and
Yeah.
the Ukraine. All the Ukrainians have access to coming here, you know, easily immersed in the society. And a lot of us been here all these years,
Yeah.
scuffling, trying to get, to go to universities or whatever. A lot of those folks come here, they're getting a free ride. So it's just amazing and how whoever is in charge, decide who, like you said earlier when you start this podcast, you said who gets to live and who gets to die. That's the
Right.
Department of
Exactly.
Life, right?
So these are the things that are going to highly affect all of us. Immigrant labor for the far agricultural country states is can be devastating because who else is picking the food that we have to eat, right?
Right.
The former
Right.
president keeps saying, the immigrants are coming in and taking away your black job. What are you talking about? Because
That's
I
crazy.
don't know anybody
That's
that's
crazy.
out there picking nothing.
Well, I'm telling whoever wants to listen to this, I never get to pick cotton, and I never got to cut and pick cane, sugar cane, or I never get to pick and prepare bananas. I never did any of those things. But I'm telling you, if they're trying to tell me I got to do that, there's no way I'm doing it. So whoever is doing it right now, whoever is doing it right now, let them
What you
do
like
what
doing?
they're doing. Leave
That
them
is not your
alone.
black
Stop
job.
talking. That's not my black job. Let them do what they're
Look,
doing,
let's make
man.
that very
You know?
clear. Our black job is not to ever
Yes,
go back into anybody's field picking anything.
exactly. Please do not advocate for my job. I do not want it.
We will not be putting socks on our back going to pick anything in the U.S. of A. They're gonna have to ask me to leave because ain't no way I'm going out picking nothing. I ain't giving no.
They're gonna have to tell me I gotta go somewhere else. But I'm no way I'm picking no cotton, no fruit, no
I'm not
nothing.
doing work in no kitchen. I'm not a laundryist. I'm not a cook.
Exactly.
I'm not a cleaner. I'm not a
doing none of
nursemaid. Those are none of my jobs.
That's none of those are my jobs, man. So don't be bringing that. If you can't bring entrepreneurship, coaching, training, and mentoring to me, then don't bring any other
Right. So
jobs.
those are our black jobs. I don't know.
Yes,
So
that's our
I
black
will
jobs
ask
right
you
there.
guys, put in the chat or put it on our Facebook, on the Business Zone Facebook page. What is your black job? Because my black job is a coach. He ain't got nothing to do with picking cotton.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I'll be curious to hear from our listeners. What do they think are their black
I'll
job
create
is?
a
You know what I'm
post
saying?
on our Facebook page and see what we get from people that says we do know our black job is to vote for democracy on November 5th. But what is your actual black job right now that's making you money? Because obviously there is a core of people in this country or population that needs to understand what a black job is to us. So everyone has a black job, but it is not the one that they're talking about. That's all I'm saying, folks. So I'm gonna put it up, Gilbert.
This. Yeah, I'm putting. Yeah, go ahead and do it. But I'm doing this right here because I want them to have our emails so they can reach out to us anytime they want. So I just put on there, please contact us on the Business Zone at this email address, guys. You reach out to us. Save this page, save this information,
Awesome.
this text, and any information you want to send us, you send it to us via here, and my co-host and I will respond to you guys, and we'll send you materials if you want it. We'll send you anything. We'll invite you on the show to be a guest. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast today, if you're a contract provider, you are a chamber of commerce, you are a nonprofit agency who utilize the services of small and micro businesses and you don't want to pay them, I want you to come on the show and explain to us why we're wrong when we say you're a wolf in sheep clothing.
Awesome. So we will continue throughout. We have a guest coming in next week, but we will continuously have conversations about Project 25, bringing information to you.
Oh,
we
yes.
understand that's a 900 payment, but literally, you can go on in Google. That's the beauty of the internet. And Google what is Project 25. Give me the key points. Then that'll get you at least start getting you interested in reading about more. How will it affect my family? How will it affect my children? How will it affect my parents and my grandparents? so that you understand that this is very serious. This is not something that possibly will happen. Actually, a lot of these things are already started happening. Roe versus Wade has already been dismantled a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. Now they're looking at, managing women.
They did affirmative
Yeah, they
action
got rid of
already.
affirmative
They got rid of
they
that in
eliminated
schools, in
DEI.
universities.
In fact, DEI has become the new code word for the N word. Uh, yeah, so they use that
Oh
now.
Lord.
That's the racial term. They instead of saying what they really want to say, they're using DEI. And the former president, when he was on the BJ the other day, that's one of the things the young lady said something about the DEI. He goes, "Well, what does that mean to you?" And she goes, "Diversity, equity, and inclusion." That's not what it means.
Inclusion, right?
Well, what does it mean to you, you idiot? So it
It
means
means
black,
black.
and make sure you drop that black to it like it's like you just ate tar.
It means black. This
Black,
program is
doing the
for
black.
blacks.
So yeah, this is some serious stuff because Mr. Man put on his Klan hat and his Klan. The only thing he didn't have on was his cape. We already knew who he was. But he had on the Klan attire the other day, guys. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I heard I learned the double speak a long time ago, and that's what was happening. JD Vance is the same thing. Now they're saying, she's not black. She said she was Indian. Now all of a sudden she didn't turn black. How can that happen? Folks, we are not magical. We are hard workers, but we not magical.
And folks, just for the record, folks, I'm Jamaican and I'm black. Okay.
Yes, Gilbert learned today that he was Jamaican, so therefore he's a non-black.
I'm going out on a limb and saying I'm Jamaican and I'm black.
And I am sure the other Jamaicans in this country will say the same thing as well. And the Haitians and the Caribbean, the Barbadians. All
That
of
is
them
so
will tell
crazy,
you the same
man.
thing. If their ancestors came over on a slave ship, and only difference between the slaves that were in America and the slaves that were in the Caribbean is the fact that the ship stopped there first.
The ship stopped there first.
It went to Brazil. It went to Portugal. It went to Venezuela. It went to the Caribbean island. It just got there before it got to the United States. That's the only difference. So
This is
that's the only
hilarious, man. My co-host, you did very well on putting this program together today, man. I really like it. I really enjoy it. And as we continue throughout the rest of the year towards this election and beyond this election, we're going to keep talking about this Project 2025 because I'm telling you guys, this is not a sleeper. You don't want to sleep on this. You want to stay awake. You want to pay attention to what's going on because every day they're going to, I don't know how many items are in their manifestos in here, but every month I think they're going to try to pass one of them, until they get them all out there. So
exactly.
Be vigilant, guys.
So we want to, before I end, I do want to share something with you tomorrow. So you all know that there have been numerous of calls supporting Kamala Harris for president. And so the win with women, Black women, their call is every Sunday afternoon. You can go to their websites and you can sign up and you can get the Zoom link. The Black Women's Collective, you can go to their website. You also can get their information from them. And now on tomorrow, on Saturday, there is a program. Let me see if I can find a flyer. There's a call to action from all of the men that are actually, let me see if I can find the flyer real quickly here. Here it is. So I'm going to share it. There you go. So you guys can, okay, what, I lost it. Oh, here it is. All right. So let me share my screen. Okay. Share my screen. So this is a call out for men in support of Kamala Harris. So we won't go back. It's a call out to all the men of the Divine Nine, Kappas, the Alpha Psi Alphas, Omegas, the Psi Beta Sigma, all of the Divine Nine men, 100 Black men, Masons, churches, social groups, and organizations. There is a call tomorrow at which is Saturday, August 3rd, at from 9 a.m. to 10, Los Angeles Sentinel, and the guest speakers will be business, civic, community, and political leaders. And so, actually, it is in person. And so you can all show up at the Los Angeles Sentinel, which is at 3800 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90008. You also can go to the Men Supporting VP Harris.com. You can donate your money there. She needs your support. So this is the men's call to action. There's been other groups. Win with Black Men, which is one hosted by Roland Martin. You can also go to his site, Roland Martin's website, and get the information there and join in. Last week, I was on the call with the women. I actually was listening to Jasmine Crockett, Donna Brazil, all the representatives, and it's just so powerful to know that us.
Man, Jasmine Crockett is like a little rebel, man.
She's a pit bull. And I learned that this organization, Win with Black Women, they didn't just start as a result of this. They've been doing work behind the scenes for the last 4 years. And so
what is it called? Win, W-I-N,
W-I-N, Win with Black Women. And then there's one, Win with Black Men. And those are Zoom calls. This is a live and in-person one on Saturday. It is just, what is good about it, Gilbert, is we realize there are other people out there really working to make sure, for once, we're all working in solidarity. That's what it means to me. That's what is happening out there. Yeah.
First time ever.
Because our democracy is at stake. I personally believe, and this is my opinion, that when they say immigrant, but the first line of attack is always us. And why is it always us? Is because we're the one ethnicity that they were able to become wealthy off of. And they are pissed about that. So for us, it is, we are always the first ones that they're thinking about, because they were able to do. They see us. I mean, look at the Olympics. If you've been watching the Olympics, the Black folks are killing it at the Olympics. Swimmers, sword fighters, swimmers, basketball players.
Hey, that dude from Alabama who swam the river to go get those dudes. Was he there?
All I know is every sport there is, maybe with the exception of surf. I haven't seen us on the surfboard in the Olympics, but everything, we coming home with the gold. And so, they think we the superheroes because we can change our ethnicities, man. We can be Indian last week and then be Black this week. So we magical. So with that, we're going to end the show because we magical.
I love it,
So
man.
we'll see you all next week. We do have a guest next week coming in. So have a great week, guys. Remember, our Black job is to vote for democracy on November 5th. 2024. We are fighting for our freedom. So don't be listening to nonsense, craziness. Gilbert is actually black, not just Jamaican, as well as Kamala.
I am black,
Kamala
guys.
Harris is also black, and she wasn't born in Canada. She was born in Oakland. You can't get no blacker if you were born in Oakland, California, at the Kaiser Permanente Hospital. They lived for a short period of time in Canada. She was not born in Canada. So we're going to end it with that fact check. And every week we will have a new fact check for you.
That's right, guys. So tune in to us. Make sure you go and subscribe, guys. We really need your support. We need about 500 more subscriptions. So if you guys don't mind just going in there, go to Google, go to YouTube, call up the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. There's the QR code right there on the screen. And while you're watching right now, just whip out your phone, go to your camera, click on the thing, and just go ahead and subscribe, guys. It doesn't take 6 seconds or less, man. 6 seconds or less. That's why we created the Small Biz Pro. 6 seconds or less. So do the same thing here. Subscribe to our channel so we can bring you guys more quality programming materials, training, coaching, advice, and take you guys next level so you can get a bigger piece of the pie when it comes to contracting. Okay, so please do that for us. And we want to thank you guys for really watching us today, supporting us. The folks who tune in and they gave us comments in the chat. Really, really appreciate that. And just remember, my co-host Crystal and I, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here. And just in case you guys kind of forgot what we are black. Just want you to know that. And I also want you to know that our job is not in jeopardy right now. So, whatever they tell you, our job is to help you guys, coach you guys, train you guys, help you to become better entrepreneurs so you can get contract opportunities, help you to become business ready, contract ready, and funding ready. And with that being said, my co-host,
take us out. So our black job is business coaching and consulting.
Our black job is safe.
All right. See you guys.
We're out.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control.